This was inevitable. And following what has been a crazy offseason, obviously concluding with Aaron Rodgers getting signed yesterday, a massive new report has dropped from an NFL insider revealing the scary future surrounding one of the Pittsburgh Steelers' biggest stars, and his future is now in serious jeopardy. We're going to break down this new report and discuss what it means going forward. But not only that, we have some more details that have emerged surrounding Aaron Rodgers and his contract and where things stand surrounding him and the Steelers, of course, following signing the contract and what it all means going forward. Lots to go over on this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Now, folks, we have a lot to dissect today, a lot to dive into. And of course, yesterday, the Aaron Rodgers saga came to an end. They signed Aaron Rodgers. But something that has started to happen behind the scenes now for a little bit is that a couple days ago, a report came out. We have multiple new reports that teams could see Pittsburgh considering moving on from TJ Watt in 2027. And folks, this was inevitable, right? Not that necessarily that he's going to get traded right now, but that the conversation would start to arise. He had a bad season last year. He's obviously getting paid a ton. Didn't really, get his money's worth, the front office that is, or the team last year for his services. But now all of a sudden, you're at a point where, you have Nick Herbig in the woodworks, working his way to not necessarily taking over TJ Watt's spot, but as you'll see in a minute, the report kind of hints at that. But B, TJ Watt's in a very interesting point now to where, yes, he's been very, very good. He's getting a little bit older, but the team is trying to win games. So it does say 2027 where they could consider moving on from him. So it's not necessarily going to happen this offseason, but you never do know because there has been a lot of reports about it. But you can see here is the full report. TJ Watt now becomes a trade candidate to the point above. If the Steelers end up signing Herbig long term, having three large contracts allocated to one position is a tough proposition. Watt, for all his greatness, turns 32 in October and has a guaranteed salary of $32 million in both 26 and 27. Watt is a legacy player, something Pittsburgh values more than most, but some teams could see Pittsburgh at least considering moving on from him. So this is massive news, right? Because again, it all stems from the Nick Herbig discussion. Herbig, for one, having three, like the article goes on to say, three massive contracts is a bit crazy, right? You're at a point where, three massive contracts at the same position, a little bit sketchy. But TJ Watt is owed a lot of money. So if you are looking at trading him, which I think the Steelers will and are currently doing, you're going to have to find a team that's willing to take on that money. And you can't give TJ Watt away. He's still an extremely effective player despite the unfortunate reality of his contract. Now you can see here from Debo and Joe, the Steelers are predicted to trade TJ Watt to secure Nick Herbig's extension, and Debo and Joe ain't feeling this one. So they basically go on to say that, and I guess I don't want to paraphrase what they're saying, but kind of the sentiment of a lot of fans. They don't necessarily agree with it. Now, this is where I want you guys to leave a comment because I'm in the middle to a degree, right? Like Herbig is a Steelers legend. He is a great player, one of the better players of the generation defensively. But at the same time, I'm kind of excited to see what the next men up, I guess, are going to do, right? We look at the way that this team is currently constructed offensively, we can look at it defensively. Obviously, you refresh your back end. You got Jamel Dean, who is really good. He is extremely underrated. People do not talk about Jamel Dean enough. But obviously, you have your back end of Jamal Dean. You have Jalen Ramsey. You have Jaquan Brisker. You have Joey Porter Jr. This defense is, in theory, elite, right? You have Highsmith. But look at that, right? You have Watt, Highsmith, Herbig. You also have Jack Sawyer, who's pretty good. Like, you have a lot of guys. And we look at who they drafted last year. Thank God they didn't draft a defensive player in the first round. They went with Max Ionichur, who's going to help their O-line. But like TJ Watt's expendable at this point. He is expendable. And that's one of the key points of all this is, and when I say expendable, if you trade Watt, you have to get value back. And whether that's picks, it would be weird for them to say, okay, now, you bring in Mike McCarthy, you bring in new defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. You don't even let him try with Watt, and then you say, okay, let's trade him, get off the contract. You will get more value in theory with having 2 years versus one. Those contracts pretty lucrative given his performance last year. All that aside, you're at a point where, okay, you trade TJ Watt. Will you get somebody back who's actually going to be helping you win games? The team is trying to win. They signed Aaron Rodgers. You're trying to win games, right? And that's where things get a little intriguing. And if the Steelers end up signing Herbig, having three large contracts like I mentioned, the Bears, who ranked 31st in pass rush win rate and 26th in run stop win rate, could use a player like Watt, especially since Chicago made minimal changes to the defensive line. So that's where Chicago ends up being, kind of involved. And I mean, what would the Bears want to give? We can have discussions all day long, but it is an interesting name. And there's teams that need defensive pass rushers, especially a team like Chicago. They have some draft capital they could trade, but the Steelers need to be able to not get significantly worse, which is never going to happen when you trade away one of your best pass rushers and the best, arguably, on the team. Now, you have Alex Highsmith. He was probably their best defensive player down the stretch last year. Herbig, we don't know exactly what he is yet, but he looks fantastic. And you can see here, it's wishful thinking to see the Bears pull off a trade for Watt, but if not him, Herbig and Highsmith are still options. In terms of Herbig's situation, Chicago should wait for him to hit free agency entering the final year of his rookie deal. And I bring this up because this article is specifically talking about it from the Bears side, but the Steelers do need to figure this out as well, right? Like, you can't let him walk. And he had 16 sacks and 9 forced fumbles in 45 games. He's 24 years old. He should be kind of the next pillar for this team, and that's something that, in theory, you want to extend. I mean, let's look at his stats, right? Especially, and we'll look into TJ Watt's stats in a minute. Started 6 games last year. He had a career year last year. 3 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles. He is extremely good. He had an interception for 41 yards. He's a very good player. Can you expect him to be TJ Watt levels? No, because let's look at TJ Watt last year. Despite his injuries, despite everything, he still played 14 games. Pretty solid. Was a Pro Bowler. Has made a Pro Bowl now in every single season of his career besides his rookie year. He is an absolute force, and you cannot trade him away if you're going to get worse right now, I don't think, because it wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Now, if you play through this upcoming year, let's say Rodgers is bad, you have an okay year. Let's say you win a playoff game, or even you lose one playoff game, right? Or you don't, win a playoff game again. Then you still have the opportunity to trade TJ Watt after that, because you still have him for a year under contract, and then maybe you're entering a rebuild, where in 2027, you're making your draft for your next future quarterback. You trade TJ Watt for draft capital. I don't know. Comment down below what your thoughts are, folks. It is a very interesting proposition, but it was inevitable that TJ Watt rumors about getting traded were going to come to fruition, and now it's just a matter of who it is and if it happens, specifically with the Bears being a primary target for TJ Watt. Now, a couple other things. Let's dive into some Aaron Rodgers stuff. There has been a lot of discourse lately about how the signing is bad and how he's been really bad. Last year versus playoff teams, 1-5 with putrid games. Why would anyone want to bring back the oldest player in the NFL and do that again? And I get it. I don't think this makes a ton. Like, your options weren't. And I want you guys to comment between Aaron Rodgers and, let's say, Will Howard and Drew Aller. Who do you think gives you the best chance to win next year? No matter what you say about the QBR and all that stuff, which is true, and his playoff teams, he went 10-6, fairly easy schedule, but he went 10-6 and got him to the playoffs. I don't know if you put Will Howard in. I don't know if you put Drew Aller in next year if you get anything near that. Not to say that they won't develop into it. And some of you guys are going to be saying, just throw him out there. Nick, throw them out there, see what they do. It's more fun than watching Rodgers. Sure, but they made moves to win, right? And, I mean, we look at the Texans game. It was terrible. I do think you're in a pretty good spot now to at least see what you have. See what your team looks like. All the guys you signed in contract. Michael Pittman Jr., Jamel Dean, outside of a couple guys like Asante and Jaquan Brisker, you're in good shape going forward. You have guys under contract. See what Rodgers does. If he's great, I mean, you could maybe bring him back the next year. No way, though, at age 44. Then you can move on to your next draft pick and, you won a couple playoff games. It's a success. If things go terribly, you're moving on anyway, and you still have these guys under contract. So comment down below what your thoughts are on that, folks. Lots of offensive weapons for Rodgers to work with, too. A lot more. But some people are coming out and saying, it's just the worst offensive league. Ridiculous rage bait happening from Polymarkets there. Polymarket's a bit stupid sometimes. But, folks, that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.